Good morning and welcome to you all this Saturday. Um, it's getting close to the end of the month. I know the 4th of July is coming up. That means our independence is where we celebrate our freedom in this United States that we have so much of. But somehow, this agency, and I'm here to talk to you live on this podcast about how to fight CPS. And of course, hang on to your children or get your children back. It's a terrible thing that you're involved with CPS because it is corrupt. They do traffic your children. They do alienate your children. They don't like families. They don't like reunification. And they're corrupt. There are many examples I'll give you of how they're corrupt. They are a rogue agency. They're a branch of social service, but there's no accountability. They're not transparent, and they certainly have suddenly found something that they want, which is money. Money is what makes the CPS work, and it shouldn't be. It should be the protection of our children from neglect and abuse and family reunification to get the family back together when there's an interruption or necessary to intervene. But CPS doesn't believe on that. Anyway, I want to welcome all my people that are texting in. Hello, Crystal Nguyen. Hello, Rosebean Labardo. And I can't remember all the city and states you're from, but let me put up the note about texting. So when you type in your comments, make sure it pertains to CPS questions. Please show your name, city, state, or country and be complete with your CPS case. What I mean is that we don't need to play ping pong ball where you say a few things and ask, and you say a few things and ask. Go right into your case history. Start at the beginning. If your case involves 4 children with 4 different fathers, then state that. That's okay. I'm not here to judge anybody of how they have their children or how they do their family lifestyle. Every lifestyle is different. We aren't born with a book or a manual of how to do a family or how to date or how to fight CPS or all the other things we're going through. This agency is worse than the IRS. I mean, they are just bad, blatant bad. Welcome, Amy. And you're from Minnesota. Thank you so much for telling me your location. And Rosemary, my social worker, came here when I was having time with my sons. It's court ordered, unfortunately, that she comes to my home. Well, I have a rule number. Rule number 3 says you don't allow social workers into your home unless they have a warrant. And so she doesn't come in. You don't talk to social workers. Anyway, I'll discuss my rules soonly. I just want to make sure you all can comment your locations. Rosemarie, I forgot where you're at. I know that you're ahead of me, so you're probably either Arkansas or Alabama. I forgot. Crystal, I don't know if I've talked to you before, but welcome. And I'm here to help you. Um, so there's that one way you text in a comment. You found me on Facebook, and I'm broadcasting on YouTube through StreamYard. And um, I really welcome you. I'm a family man. I'm a father of 6. I love my children. I love my family, and I've been married 32 years. Unfortunately, like you all, I went through CPS, the Child Protection Services in California is called. When I say CPS, I mean the Child Protection System. Every state will have different acronyms, like Arizona Department of Child Services, DCS. So when I say CPS, I mean the system. So it pertains to all the United States. Now, my comments have also come in from countries. They too have CPS issues, and I welcome them. And I've had so far Australia and Canada and United Kingdom, a little country in South America named Ghana, um, north of Brazil and east of Venezuela along the coast. I've also had uh, Mexico and Mozambique in Africa. They're on the east side of Africa, above South Africa, below Somalia, across from Madagascar. They've been having CPS issues too. I also have Denmark from Europe, and then I have Rwanda from East Africa. Rwanda is a small country, and they're from East Africa. They've been on my show. I've had Liberia, which is on the west coast of Africa, and he's been on many times. Archie, he's involved in Scouts. Scouts is the program for boys and girls. They admitted girls several years ago. So it used to be called Boy Scouts, but it's called Scouts now. It's a worldwide organization, and it's a good thing he's involved in. He's trying to protect his children. Um, there's a question that Amy had. Let me go to her question here. Tori, I'm glad you're from Utah. Welcome you, Tori. Um, I'm still trying to. And then Carol, Crystal says she's from Southern California, Orange County. Well, that's the same way where my case was. And is closed. Well, my aunt has legal guardianship. I was wondering how I could get her back. Your aunt or your child? I can help you out there, Crystal. My daughter is 10 years old, and I lost custody because at the time I didn't have a stable home, but now I do. My aunt is getting too old to care for my daughter. And recently, and we are really close, and I'm so sad. Yes, I'll tell you how to get your daughter back. Amy McDonald, I don't understand how CPS doesn't think the home with the parents is better. If you look at the statistics on the website, 80% of women in foster care go on the sex work. It's terrible. Well, yeah. Foster care is a stepping stone to sex trafficking. They are molested in foster care and so forth. Amy, as far as um, your statement about parents, yes, there's been studies proven that the parents are the best, the biological parents are the best parents for children to have. And I strongly recommend that the families have the children return to them. But there's an obstacle. There's an unethic organization. The CPS system is corrupt. They want to make money off your case. They want to make it's an $80 billion business where they just make gobs and gobs of money off you, and that's sad. Um, I'm trying to figure out where everybody's from. Amy, I think is she from Minnesota? Yeah, she's from Minnesota. Rosemarie, I don't know where you're from. We have Tori from Utah. We have Crystal from um, Orange County, California. Same place as I've been in there. So I'm glad to have all you there. We have a new one named C. Petty. Hey, Bob. I was live on your show about 2 to 3 weeks ago. Good. I remember Chris Powell. My kids were just returned home. The case was thrown out last Friday because the state was not able to present its case. Congratulations, C. Petty. I hope that something I said helped. I am so blessed. There is a wonderful story to hear from C. Petty. Her case is closed, it's thrown out, and her kids are returned. Congratulations. C. Petty, I'd love you to come on the show and call me and tell me, how it went and what you did. And Crystal says, congratulations. I wish I would have turned it in earlier. I know. Don't feel bad, Crystal. It's a horrible thing. Orange County is the worst county. Rosemary says they all talk. It's all about money, not that they have inflicted pain and trauma on our children. Yes, it is about money. It's an $80 billion business a year. You're right. Never give up, never surrender. You're right. You're right. Amy said you should connect with Megan Wash, John Wash's daughter. She is fighting CPS. They took her kids away. We'll have Megan Wash call in or text in. I'd love to talk to her, Amy. Christy Riznado, Bob, have you ever met weather people advocate? Not yet. I don't think I've come across those people. Christine, I'd love to talk to them. The speaker is from Oceanside, California. Wow. And you're from Illinois, C. Petty. Thank you so much. And Rosemary, you're from Rochester, New York. Okay, you're the other one from Rochester. And Faye, hi. Are you just coming on? No, I've been on for a while, but you're here. I'm glad you're here. Faye is from Richmond, Kentucky. She's one of my long-standing people that come on the talk show. Welcome, Faye. We've had quite a people this morning, and I want to welcome them all. Now, I'd like to talk about another way that you can interact with this podcast, and that is by calling into my office number. It's 626 698 0990. That's 626 698 0990. And I'd love to have you call and talk. I'll put you on speakerphone and we can talk about your case. So don't hesitate to call. A third way you can interact with this podcast is be a guest on my show. And to be a guest on my show, all you need to do is contact my show producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And you email her the date, the time you want to be on, such as you want to be on the Wednesday morning show or the Thursday evening show. I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning every day except Sunday. I come on at 8. I'm on for an hour, and that's Pacific Standard Time. In the evening, I'm on at 7 o'clock at night, Pacific Standard Time for an hour. So it's twice a day, 14 shows you can pick from. Just email Grace at vincentwdavis.com what day you'd like to be a guest on my show. I'd love to have you be a guest on my show. And be live just like me, next to me, and so forth. And we can talk about your case or any other questions, or you can help the people in the room. C. Petty, the third time now, sadly, I've had my kids taken for a year each time and then had to win at adjunction trial with my public defender, my facts to get them back. Wow. I'm surprised that a public defender was able to help you. Usually they don't. Usually they have 30 or more people and they don't care about your case and want an easy way out. So you're lucky to have that public defender work for you, C. Petty. But anyway, that's the third way that you can interact with the podcast. Now I'm going to return my phone number because that's the one that people have a hard time remembering. And so that's the call-in number. Now, Crystal says they're the worst. Yes, we know the worst. And to tell you how bad they really are, all you have to do is go on the internet and go to the year 2022. Go to Prescott, Arizona, and you'll see 8 ladies wearing pink T-shirts that have stenciled on the front, they're professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they say, where are your children? Do you know where your children are? Now, that message was displayed because they walked through Walmart and other department stores in the city of Prescott, Arizona. They were caught. They were fired. No one prosecuted them, which I think they should have been. The director was fired too, left him with one employee, a guy who ran the CPS in Prescott. But it just tells you the mentality of these social workers. Now, my social worker was very corrupt. She didn't have a degree. She was young. She never had experience of a family. She didn't know what the parenting classes are. They have no license. They have no training in the Orange County CPS. They just run wild. And all she could talk about was her bonuses that she got for a Gucci purse. She got a new purse every week, her BMW car, her face makeup, her accessories, her clothing. That's all she talked about is how much money. She didn't care that she was ruining our family. Um, that's another social worker that I know firsthand that is very corrupt. Yes, public defenders is so sad. They're a waste of time. They have a caseload of 30 more clients. They will not fight for your case. C. Petty's the only one I've heard that a public defender did anything right. Yes, I agree. I don't know about homeschooling, but I think maybe a private school if you can afford one, or some check out the school. But you're right. You need to move to another state. Where? I don't know, to tell you the truth, because CPS is corrupt in every state. And I think what we all have to do is be very careful of people that family members, because they're the ones that call in and make these allegations that aren't true. And you got to be really careful, the lay people, to make the calls, because when they call in, CPS takes it for the truth. And right away, you're guilty and you have to prove you're innocent. It's the only court of law that you're guilty and you have to be proven innocent. Other courts, you're innocent till you're proven guilty. Yep, the mother called in. Yep, that's what it is. In my case was neglect. And for 5 years, my in laws were trying to say things that weren't true. My wife was hysterical. It was bad because it's her family. I should have known something bad about them because they never came to our wedding. They were against the idea of her marrying me. And then we had our children, and they wanted to take our children. My in laws were bad, and they made false allegations. For 5 years, I kept them at bay. You see, I lost my job, unfortunately. Like all you depend on a job, but I lost my job at the worst time. I lost it when I was 60 years old. Through no fault of my own, by the way. The job was there. It's just I had contracts with the state of California, and the governor needed money, and so he was doing creative financing. And he says, "Well, gee, Mr. Pace has $53 million of contract work to do with the state of California. We'll borrow that money and give him an IOU." Well, you don't know how hard it is when you have an IOU. You go to the bank, and they won't give you a credit line to start up the job, and I can't keep the company going if I have no income. And all those people, not only me, I laid off a lot of people. The general contracting arm of that company is gone because I couldn't weather it out, and my owner couldn't sue them because what they did, it was illegal. But you try to take on an entity like the state of California or the federal government. I mean, there's only one person I know that has that kind of money. Even him, they're running him like a railroad clock. And you know who I'm talking about, because I've never known of an individual that is for 10, 15 years been constantly after him because they know they can't beat him the right way. So they try to do other methods. But anyway, I don't want to get here to talk about politics. Politics is bad. And I've suffered a lot because of this. I had a great job. I mean, I had a beautiful home, and I lost it all. I lost my home, I lost my job, and I lost my family. And CPS got involved because of some corrupt lay people, people that want to do retaliation for whatever reason they're going to gain. And this happens all the time. And if I dwell on this thing, my apologies. But you got to understand, people that live next door to other people will call CPS and allege you've done something wrong. You may even have children. That's how stupid CPS is. They'll come out and say, "We understand that you're not feeding your child." And the guy will sit there and say, "Well, I don't have a child. You can search. I don't have any children." Well, by then the damage has been done. You already have a black mark on you. It's so bad that people I mean, even spouses will use alienation. They'll call CPS thinking that they would get the children, but instead they lose the children themselves. You don't call CPS, it's like a loaded gun. You don't know what chamber. I mean, you're playing Russian roulette with CPS. You don't know what chamber that bullet's in. So you do not want to call CPS. You don't want other people calling CPS. You don't. They don't need to. In fact, I would think the way it should be done is that it should be done in writing, and your name should be signed to it. And if you did do a false allegation, then you should be turned over and prosecuted. It's wrong to make a false allegation. It's wrong to use CPS to alienate children. It's wrong for spouses in divorce cases to use CPS. It backfires. It backfires. You don't want them at all. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible experience. And I know most of you that are going through that and so forth. But it's, in my case, for 5 years, I held them off at bay. But then after 2015, they conned me because they had a police detective follow me unknowns to me. And he had me be pulled over by a black and white that made up a false traffic violation to stop me. And if I knew now, then I probably would have got out of that. But the police, the black and white, said, "There's a guy that wants to talk to you." I said, "Who?" He pointed at some goofy guy with a big badge around his neck. And, he said, "I'm a detective and you need to follow me to your home." I said, "Well, what are we being charged?" "You need to follow me to your home." I said, "I have to pick up my wife." "You need to follow me home." He gave me no options. I should have said either charge me, arrest me, or give me a ticket for the violation and then leave. I did not know that. I did not know that. They have to have court orders or warrant to arrest you and stuff. They can arrest you for false things. They can arrest you, but they have to arrest you. And he didn't. And like a fool, like all of you, I listened and I followed him to my home. Little did I know that there was a time bomb there. There was 9 people in my yard. Now, why does it take 9 people to investigate a CPS case? There's 3 social workers, 2 code enforcement, 5 firemen, 2 detective, and the detective. And of course, they want to come to my home, and like a fool, I said, "Sure, why not? Nothing to hide." Well, that was a mistake because what they found in my home was they found my parents' belongings neatly stacked on boxes and furniture stacked. They said, "You can't do that. You can't. You're neglecting it. Your children can be hurt by having too many contents in your home." That's what I was sided with. They were mad because for 5 years I held them at bay. Unfortunately, my parents were dying, and they asked me to help settle their belongings, sell their home, and so forth. And I didn't have money to put it in storage. I had a mortgage. I mean, I had $5,000 a month I had to pay in mortgage, because I had a house there. And I hung on the house as long as I can, but I did my rule number 1 late. I should have done it right away, but I got an attorney, and I got Mr. Davis as my attorney. And he got 2 of my 3 children back, the 3 that were stolen. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about my case and how bad it was. It was really bad. And so I like talking to you all to tell you things that may or may not work. I hope that they do, and so forth. I need to catch up a little bit because people are writing me comments here. And I'm glad everybody's helping everybody. Um, okay, Amy says, "C. Petty needs to move on after getting." Okay, I agree that. And she says, "Thank you. I agree." And Crystal from Orange County, California, "Yes, they are my mother called, and that's the lay people." Faye says, "In my state, social workers themselves will scout poor neighborhoods looking for kids playing outside unattended and call into the hotline complaints and while checks see those kids' address." That's terrible. Social workers will call in to the hotline to make complaints. That is unbelievable, Faye. I never heard of that one. C. Peddle says, "Crystal, you're aunt can't give you guardianship, maybe through another court district, yeah, you can ask for guardianship. If your daughter's been taken, I don't know if your parental rights have been terminated. Uh, Crystal, you need to tell me if your rights have been terminated, because if they haven't been, you can request to have your children returned to you. Faye says they do it anonymous too, so that gets investigators opened up and potential revenue or a child they can nab for a friend. Yes, Faye, you're right. They know how to work the system. Believe me. And if any of you haven't heard, I talked about the Pink Ladies. There's also a lady in Chicago, Illinois, a month ago on her Facebook page posted an ad from 1848 that said black children for sale. And she's black, by the way. But she put on her Facebook page an ad, black children for sale. Now, why would he do something that in the year 2024? It's like 1848 before the Civil War. Yes, there was bad things against black people. But she being a black person and a social worker, why would she put that on your Facebook page? That tells you the kind of thinking that social workers are. Faye says they do anonymous things too, so that gets investigators opened up and potential revenue or a child that can nab for a friend. I agree, Faye. There have been social workers like Beth Bond in Kentucky for doing this very thing. I guess Beth Bond is a social worker, and that's sad to hear. There are bad social workers everywhere. All you have to do is think about the Pink Lady or the lady, the social worker that ran an ad, black children for sale. Faye says clutter is not imminent risk of harm, nor is it neglect, as long as it's not hoarder cluttered and deplorable. No, it was not hoarder cluttered deplorable. My parents had a 4,000 square foot home. My home at the time was 3,500. And so by putting their things in, and I moved tables and chairs and furniture and stacked them and put the boxes next to them, and then I would take one box at a time and sort through them. And the jewelry would go to this cousin, and that jewelry would go to this person. I was designating all the stuff where to go. And they took it as that the furniture can attack my children. See, my children each had their own bedroom. Own bedroom. And they had their own bathroom, and it was upstairs. It was clean and private. Nothing in their room that would have harmed them. They're at school all day, and they're in a what's called a STEM program where they take a science class, a technology class, engineering class, and a math class. They're an accelerator, and they're in private school. So it wasn't where I wasn't. As I say, I had nice income. I had a beautiful home near the beach. And unfortunately, when I lost my job, I could only hang in my home for so long. The mortgages are too much. And no one wants to hire someone at age 60, let alone 65, or now I'm 74 years old and I'm a dinosaur, they say. You're too old to work. You're too old to work. And that's wrong. I can work. I will find work. I will get to work it again. I need to rebuild my life. It's so hard. Crystal says, yeah, she said that she will sign the papers. Oh, that's good news that your aunt will do that. Then there you go. Get your custodian. How to go about doing that? Well, you have to go on the internet and type in, and you're, Crystal, I think you said that you're from Orange County, California. So all you do is look at how to get custody in Orange County, California. How to get guardianship, I should say. Sorry. How to get guardianship. And you can do that. You just file a case. Of course, you should get an attorney, not a court-appointed attorney, a real attorney. And since I'm speaking of attorney, I want to break here for a moment and tell you about my rule number one. I have an attorney that produces this podcast. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He has a law firm, Vincent W. Davis and Associates, and he would gladly talk to you. He is a dependency attorney with over 35 years experience. He has fought CPS, and he has won cases and got children back. And so He goes all over. He'll go all over. He has a retainer, but right now he's offering you to talk to him, and that is at 888-888-6582. He'll have a consultation with you for 30 minutes for $60. That's $2 a minute. That's not a bad thing. And he'll talk to you for 30 minutes. You'll feel relief. He'll talk about how to navigate, how to get your kids back. And if you like him, maybe you'll talk about a retainer and retain him. He'll go to other states. He'll go to Northern California. And he is cared. He has a podcast. He does care. And he's a trial attorney. And that's 888-888-6582. Also, at the bottom of my screen, there is a ticket running. All you do is type in Candly, CALENDLY.com/law office VWD/Bob Pace. And you can get his schedule, and you can schedule a consultation. And he knows how to fight CPS. He's won civil lawsuits against CPS, both federal and state courts. He knows his business, and he's available to talk to him. All you do is call in 888-888-6582. Tell him that Bob Pace sent you, and then when you speak to Mr. Davis, say that Bob Pace sent you. It's important. So I just wanted to talk about rule number 1 to help you all out there. Now, Crystal says, let me see. How do I know if they've been terminated? Well, basically you would contact the Orange County CPS and ask for a copy of your court order. It should say on your court order. And you can go to the clerk at the dependency court in Orange. You go to the court, you go to the clerk, it's on the second floor. You ask the clerk for a copy, or that you can look on the screen at all your papers. It's already in there, and you'll be able to see it. And they charge per page, but if you can't pay it, all you have to do is show them your low income, and they'll produce it for you free. That will tell you need that court paper. You should have been given one, your last paper. It should tell you whether your rights have been terminated or not. C. Pelly, just signing a paper helps with like doctor visits and stuff, but to legitimize it has to be approved through the courts. Agreed. It has to go through dependency court. You have to get custody again. You have to go through dependency court. Now, see what else the Crystal said. Terminate, yes. It's called TPR, Terminal Parental Rights. That's your rights for medical and physical, and your rights for your child. You don't want to ever give up your TPR. You never want to terminate them. So you can still do that, Crystal. No, you don't go through another court. You go through the court in Orange County, Crystal. The dependency court, the one that your case was heard in. And online, by researching, it'll tell you the steps of how to gain custody of your child if you lost custody and you want to have custody of your child. Now, Faye says Beth Bond, was Beth Bond a social worker? Was she a social worker? I forgot. You mentioned Beth Bond, and I should know it, but I probably forgotten, Faye. Crystal said, out in my county, all family and juvenile mothers get handled by one court, to my understanding. Crystal, are you the one from Orange County? I thought you were from Orange County. If you're from Orange County, there's more than one dependency court. Because I was in there, I know it. Faye says, make sure a relative is healthy, financially stable, no DCF cases in the past. DCF is Department of Children and Families. It's the CPS system we're talking about. You have to have a safe home and reliable car, or the relative will be turned down for guardianship. Yes, you got to have all those there. Yes, I think you do need an attorney. That's the best way, and I have the best attorney. If you're the one in Orange County, he goes to Orange County Court a lot. So Vincent Davis can help you with your guardianship and get it back. All you have to do is call him, schedule that consultation. Also, if they're too old, DCF will deny them depending on age. Well, not guardianship. Like if you have a special needs child, you can do guardianship of them, whether they're 18, 19, 20, whatever they are, because they need to be taken care of for their special needs. And so, um, but if they're over 18 and they're not special needs, you can't get the guardianship of the child. They're their own boss. They have to ask you, they got to ask the court to allow that happens because they're in charge. I don't have 10,000 to spend at the moment. It's expensive here in Orange County. I know it's expensive. I sold my home. I spent over $300,000. So I know how expensive it is. Um, I know how expensive it is. Um, but at least do the consultation, and then you can take it from there. At least talk to me. You have enough to lose to spend $60 with Mr. Davis. He's the best in the country, and he'll talk to you for 30 minutes, and he'll talk about how to navigate. Because you see, you have to understand, fighting CPS is like doing open heart surgery. If you can picture yourself that something wrong with your heart, are you yourself going to open your chest and work on it? Are you going to have your spouse open you up? You're going to have your best friend in the neighborhood? You can have one of your family members? Are you going to have a plumber or an auto mechanic do open heart surgery? No, you're going to get a professional, a doctor trained in that. One has gone to medical school, that has done internship, that's mentored another doctor before they do surgery. So think of CPS as open heart surgery. So you need an attorney, a good one, and you need someone that can navigate and help you through that. So don't give up. Don't give up. And you would not know how much that Mr. Davis will charge until you talk to him. Every case is different. Every case is different. It's up to him how much he wants for a retainer. But it's hard to put the price of a child on money. As I said, I went ahead and sold my home, and that was the worst thing I ever did. Because in the end, I lost one of my child. My girl, who's 21 now, she was 12 at the time, was convinced by the social workers to divorce the parents, to change her name, to be adopted in foster care, and to seal her birth certificate. She's 21 now. She got rid of her foster parents because they molested her. And it's like anything else. It is hard. I don't regret selling my home. I wish I didn't. Because 40 years is a long time and rates now are astronomical. I had a house in the most expensive county in the United States near the beach. And yes, I lost it all. And yes, it's hard at age 74 to get a career job and start over again, but I'm willing to do it. And I'm on this show primarily because I care about all of you going through this, because I went through it and I had no support group, and I support you all. And if I had a wand, I'd like to make it all disappear. But as long as you fight and you know what you're doing and you search the internet. See, my rule number 4 is that you need to learn about the area you're involved with about CPS. So in Orange County, you just type in Orange County CPS, and you'll see tons of topics to know about it. So, rule number 4, make sure that you research, because the internet is a wealth of knowledge. It will help get your children back. Crystal further says, yeah, that's about the money part. And I'm sorry, Crystal, I really am. Let me see. There's another message here from Amy McDaniel. Can my son sue or Catholic Charities for that happened when he was in CPS? How should I get him an attorney? If your son was hurt in CPS, his constitutional or civil rights were violated, he can do a lawsuit. Um, the trauma or being in CPS, that's not sue. You can't sue that. And but your son could file a civil lawsuit, but you need to get an attorney, a professional attorney, and one that can do that. They'll take 30% of what you get, and I could sue about loss of my dollar. I had a case to sue the social worker of Orange County, but it would cost me about $50,000 retainer to start it, and I didn't have it. I spent all my money on getting my boys back. So it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing, and but I would talk to Vincent Davis, Amy. It's 30 minutes for $60. You have nothing to lose. Now, Faith further says if they have any domestic history, violence history, they'll be turned down. Yeah, true. If you have any DV, you will be turned down for that. So, um, yes, depends on the age of children and so forth. Faye is very instrumental. She's trying to help out in this room here, talk about things there. How old are your kids? Faye's asking. If they're over the age of 18, it's hard to get custodian of 18 or over because they're not minors. And if they're not special needs, the child could say, I want my parents to be custodian of me. A child can ask that. I shouldn't say adult, but a young adult can ask that. And that can happen. I have a new person here. Placer County Cop Watch. Okay, that's an interesting name. And I don't know what place you're at. Once rights are bypassed, what should be the next step to regain parental rights? Well, if your rights are being terminated, TPR, you need to appeal that decision. You need to do an appeal before that happens because it's really hard to regain your parental rights when they've been terminated. So if you recently have had them terminated, you can do an appeal and try to win your appeal. But again, that involves an attorney. Now, when all this is going on, one of you was talking about paperwork, didn't know whether your terminal rights are. I have a rule number 2 is called paperwork, and you should get a notebook. It's a 6-inch thick notebook, 3-ring binder. Stuff it full of college rule notebook paper to write on. Get yourself some subject tabs, divide it, put the subject tab in, and one of your first tabs should be the incident tab. And there you should write down the date, the time, the location, the people involved in the incident. Then the next line, you want to describe what the incident was. And then the third line, you want to describe the outcome. If you don't know the outcome, leave it blank and come back later and fill it in when you do know the outcome. Skip a couple lines to the next incident. Skip a couple lines to the next incident. That way you keep track of all the incidents related to your CPS, whether with the police, whether with CPS, whether with the school, whereas anything related to the CPS should be in that section. So that's my rule number 2. Yeah, Faye had no such luck. It's hard to find a good attorney. It really is. One of the key words when you're looking for an attorney is that have they fought CPS in a civil lawsuit and won? Those are the attorneys that you want to find, and Mr. Davis is one of them. And I realized bringing him out to Kentucky would be expensive because of the airfare, the ground transportation, the accommodations. And I wish I was inherently wealthy. I could give you guys money to hire, or I could pay Mr. Vincent Davis's wages, and he could go from state to state, from county to county, and defend you all. He's one man, and so many of you need help. It's unbelievable. And until we change CPS, it's going to be bad news. And to make the change, you have to do it at the congressional level. You have to get the congressional arm of government involved. You need to get the senators and the representatives on board with you. You need to get the governors and the newspaper media and the news media and everything. You got to get a lot of squawk up. It takes a lot of effort to do so. But I know you all can do it. It just takes time. Yeah, I know. 30,000 retainer. Uh, well, mine's 50,000. Mine's 50,000, and I have no more homes to sell. I've sold my. Oh God, I once was very very well to do, and anyway, that's history. I need to talk about the present. I need to talk about you guys and your case is and try to help you. We have about 15. We have about 11 minutes left of the show time before I need to end the show. We've talked a lot about what kind of people these guys are. Another thing I haven't mentioned is that when you're fighting CPS, you're like Alice in Wonderland. You found in your garden a rabbit hole. You went down the rabbit hole, and now you're into all these rooms that make no sense. Off with your head, or go to this door; it doesn't open to nowhere. So, being in CPS is like being in Alice in Wonderland. It's a shame they're so corrupt. It really is. Their whole goal is to make your life miserable, and they do a good job at it. I don't think anyone in this room will sit there and say they feel really good being involved in CPS. Thanks for the information, Placer County Cop Watch. I'd like to know what city and state you're at. That'd be great. Um, I know that Faye is from Richmond, Kentucky. Amy McDonald. Um, Let me see. I forgot where Amy McDonald was. Geez, Maniz. A lot of people today. This is nice. Um, oh yeah, she's from Minnesota. Megan McDonald's from Minnesota. Amy McDonald is. Crystal Nguyen is from Orange County, California. And C. Pelly, I forgot where you're from, C. Pelly. C. Pelly, C. Pelly. She's from Illinois. Yeah, C. Pelly's from Illinois. And Rosemary Lombard is from Rochester, New York. And we have Christina is from Ocean. No, Christina, I don't know where you're from. I thought I knew from where you're from, but I don't. If you could tell me where you're from, it'd be great. Um, Tori Johnson is from Utah. So we have a good group of people in here, and I want to thank you all for coming in. I still have about 8 minutes left. You can call in and talk for 8 minutes if you like to. Um, oh, Placer County is from California. Well, I didn't know all my counties. And so welcome there from Placer, California. With the remainder of the time, there's one topic that always seems to come up that a lot of people don't quite understand. It's called ICWA. It's the Indian Child Welfare Act. It's being challenged recently. Faye just told me they're trying to challenge it. But it was an act long time in coming. In 1875, when the Indians were put onto reservations and their hairs are cut and their clothes are stripped and their language is forced not to speak and the culture is suppressed. For 100 years, they were taking the children so easily. and not putting them back with the families. So they passed a law in 1978 that basically states that CPS must contact their tribe if they're Native American Indian children. I'm talking about the first immigrants that came over from Siberia over into Alaska that settled in Canada. And I'm talking about the North American tribes like the Lakota Sioux. If you have any Indian blood, the advantage of that is that the tribe will take the children and try to work them get back into the family. So the CPS must, by law, turn the children over to the Indian tribe, who in turn turn them over to an Indian family, who in turn will try to regroup them and do family reunification. They're a lot better. They're not in there for the money, and they will help out. The Indian people are really good about taking care of their own. Sort of like the Polynesians in the Pacific. And so, um, the Polynesians and the Native American Indians that migrated all through North and South America have something in common because there was an expedition called the Kon-Tiki expedition, and a Norse research proved that people could sail from South America across the Pacific Ocean and settle islands. So I think the migration of people, you know, uh, came down through Canada, North America, into Central America, and so forth. When Spanish was exploring Mexico, the Spanish intermixed with the Incas and Aztecs, the Mayans, and all the groups down there. And they did so in the West too, in North America. But groups of people did set off sail in the Pacific, and those are the Polynesians. And so I want to say that that's how the migration of the people went. So also there was some proof through the raw expeditions that people from Africa migrated over to South America by sailing a reed boat. So people traveled by boats to the spread of the world. People in Africa spread north to Europe and so forth. And so, um, anyway, um, people are people. Just the color of the skin's different. That's all it is. But inside, there's a warm heart, and people love families and love children. And it's sad that we have an agency like CPS that's gone rogue, that thinks nothing more than just money about the kids, thinks nothing about the kids. And so that is a sad, um, very sad predicament we're in here. But I've had one good news, and I'm glad that the people got their kids back. That was good news, and I hope something I said helped you. Um, Rule number three that I have that I haven't talked about was to say no to social workers and not talk to them, because what you do say will be used against you. So if they happen to come to your home and you're outside, then don't let them in the yard. Don't let them in because they don't have a right to. They have to have a warrant or probable cause, like extreme danger. So say no. And that goes for the police too. They have to have a warrant. A warrant is an official document that very clearly tells what they can do and what they plan to do and so forth. But keep them outside. I did that. I talked to them most of the time outside. I did show them my house. In the beginning, there's nothing they could find, but I didn't know the laws. But anyway, you want to say no to them, don't talk to them, don't let them in your home. If they come and knock on the door, go hide, don't answer the door. I always refer to people to think about a 23-year-old black man that was in the Air Force as an airman. He was talking to his girl on FaceTime, and he was killed point blank by a sheriff from Gainesville. 5 shots were fired, and it was sad. It was really sad. He was talking to his girl on FaceTime. So if you think about that, don't ever open your door. Don't ever open your door. Hide in a closet or something in there. Um, Also, if you have a medical issue with you, you're going to have a baby, or maybe you're taking kids in because they're sick, be careful. They will take your child through medical trafficking. They're notorious. Um, so you got to be really careful when you take your children. Don't give them up. They have to have a court warrant. If you're having a child being born, tell them to get out of your birthing room. Don't let the police in there. Don't let them in there. Faye says, do not sign papers without a trusted attorney or advocate with the law knowledge and the CPS procedures uh, looking over it first. I agree, Faye. Very careful of your paperwork. Very, very careful. And then she further says all CPS forms are contracts and all voluntarily. Yeah, it's so true. They're going to make promises that, well, you'll get your children back if you sign this piece of paper. Or you got to be careful what you're signing. You never want to sign anything. And you can also have time to show it to your attorney to have a look. One of the things they're insisting on a signature, say, well, I need to talk to my attorney first. And then you go, if you have an attorney, talk to him. But it'll give you some time. And then Faye says he suggests having a standby guardianship friend or relative, writing and fit to take custody at the hospital when having a baby there. You're right. You're right. You got to have a fit guardian that can take your baby because they will take your baby in the hospital. It's so sad. If you test positive, they're so bad. They're so bad. I cannot tell you how evil and how bad CPS is. But with that say, I got to end the show. It's 11 o'clock and my time is up. I want to thank you all for joining the show and participating. I hope to see you tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Amy. And thank you, C. Petty. And thank you, Christina. And of course, thank you, Faye and C. Pelly. You all were beautiful with expressing your thoughts. Keep fighting, and you will get your kids back. I care about you, so come back again tonight at 7 o'clock. This is Bob Pace signing off. Oh, thank you, Amy. I didn't forget Amy. I guess I forgot Amy there. And the Placer Counter Cop Watch. Thank you, too, that you called in. Wow. We had a lot of people this morning. God bless you all. And I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock. Bob Pace signing off.